tax situation.
Yep.
Just a quick question. As we're speaking now, Nabisco employees are spending their last hour of work, 600 of them, including my brother-in-law, actually. And in Kenilworth, Merck is going to close down their place. They pay 22% of our taxes. And I don't see any sense of urgency. Now, and I can understand maybe you wouldn't, but I went to a council meeting this Wednesday, and they were talking about a new building they were going up, nothing about doubling of property taxes, which looks like it's going to be inevitable here. So the general question would be, what are you doing to actually do something about property taxes? And specifically, we've got a pay-to-play type of, you get $500, you get made a borough attorney. And I've seen it all over the place. You donate somewhere and you get these massive insurance contracts. It's actually nauseating when you look at these figures. Are you doing anything specifically are you going to do anything specific to root out corruption? Legalize corruption. I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. I'm saying it's ethically and morally. That's not going to cure it. There's other stuff that has to be done, but that would be the place to start.
Yep.
And I'll hang up. And
so you got a twofer right there.
Yep. Let me address it, John. Thank you for raising both items. Let me hit the second one first. We put forth an ethics package just before the pandemic hit. I want to revisit that. And I'm proud of a lot of the steps we've taken on transparency and good government, but I want to do more. And I'll just leave it at that because that's a complicated piece, but just know that that's something that we have been and will continue to be focused on. I mourn the Nabisco or Mondelez closing. I fought like heck with them. I will tell you, I don't think they were terrific in their communications and their transparency. Merck is still huge in New Jersey, and as you likely know, and again, this is not necessarily what you want to hear for Kenilworth, but they're doubling down in Rahway. They've got a spin-off that they just spun off that's going to be in Jersey City. I signed the nation's most progressive and aggressive incentives package in January. It is attracting companies. The pandemic has accelerated families and companies looking at New Jersey. Our budget helps in that respect. The money that we're getting out of Congress in New Jersey is now consistently a state that companies, and you're just seeing it. WebMD just announced they're going to move, or they're rumored to be moving 700 jobs, their headquarters, into Newark. There are companies making moves like that all the time, big and small, including the startups. In fact, if anything, New Jersey's historically done better holding our own with the big companies than we have keeping a startup culture, which we really, frankly, missed the boat on.
It's an interesting question, though, Governor, and it's not a new question, and especially now that we're starting to see life return to normal, now we're seeing questions return to public enemy number one in New Jersey, and which is property taxes. So while you might be making New Jersey more attractive for people to come to from out of state, look, we've had so many people move from other high wealth states. A lot of people moved from Manhattan into New Jersey during the course of the pandemic. It's a question of how you keep people who are already paying the high taxes from leaving.
No, it's not just attracting, it's making sure folks, companies and families, particularly seniors who have a fixed income, their kids have graduated, so that 53% of your property tax bill for public education isn't really relevant. And you want to stay here, and with our budget has a ton of property tax relief up against it. But what I think there's another signal, because our population is growing, it's growing meaningfully. What it does tell you is folks want a fair deal. They don't want to get their eyes ripped out. And I think in our worst days in the past, that's what was happening. We inherited a huge property tax crisis. But folks also recognize #1 public education system in America, best location, a state that's investing aggressively in infrastructure, public health among the best in the nation, that we're probably never going to be the lowest cost state to live in, but folks want a fair deal, and I will fight every step of the way to make sure it's as fair as it can be. A lot of work still to be done, I admit that.
A lot of discussion left also. We're going to take another quick break.